The Jarbidge Wilderness in northeastern Nevada has kind of wormed its way into my brain, and it's become a place that I want to spend more and more time. Last year, I'd found a trip report online, and it was this 10-peak loop starting at the 76 Creek Trailhead. And I tried twice, unsuccessfully last year, to complete this just rugged and rough loop. So for our first backpacking trip of 2025, my buddy Brian and I decided we would return to the 76 Creek Trailhead and try again. The Jarbidge Wilderness was established in the 1964 Wilderness Act, and it was the first wilderness area in the state of Nevada to be protected. In 1989, the area was expanded by the Nevada Wilderness Act, and it currently sits at around 113,000 acres. I could spend decades exploring Jarbidge, and I would probably still never see all of it. The name Jarbidge is derived from the Shoshone language, and it loosely translates to devil. It is believed that the indigenous folk who lived here thought these hills to be haunted. And I think that's wildly appropriate, because it is some of the most difficult and oftentimes dangerous terrain that I've personally ever backpacked. My first attempt to complete this 10-peak loop was with my friend Gabe, and we made it to the second peak, and then Gabe he wasn't feeling well, he wasn't doing well, and we decided that for the safety of everyone involved, it would be best to bail on the trip. So we worked our way down into the valley, we found a place to camp for the night, and we headed back to the car in the morning. A few weeks later, Brian and I tried, and we made it to the third peak. And, we were so excited we made all this progress, but it was so late in the day and water was incredibly scarce. So again, we made the decision that for the safety of everyone involved, we would bail on the trip. And so we found where the actual 76 Creek Trail connected with this high ridge route and made our way back to the car. The plan for this third attempt was to hit a minimum of the first 4 peaks in the first day. We got in a little bit of a late start. We started around 9:30 in the morning, and early on we were moving pretty well. Things seemed to be on track. As the day wore on, I was starting to feel the effects of the elevation and the effort, so I was slowing down quite a bit. Water was pretty scarce, and by the time we'd reached was essentially the beginning of the ascent to the 4th peak, we were very nervous about water. We were able to find this little trickle coming off of a snow melt, and we knew that as the air temperature dropped later into the evening that trickle would dry up because the snow would no longer be melting. So we made the call to camp just a little bit short of Peak 4, fill up all of our water bottles, and settle in for the night. When we woke up the next morning, I was feeling a little bit better, but still not great. And I was starting to question whether a trip this difficult was the right choice for the first trip of the year. But I was still feeling fairly confident. So we broke down camp, ate our breakfast, and headed towards Peak 4. We were both carrying a pretty significant amount of water, about 4 liters apiece, just because we knew that at these elevations, we were well over 8,000 feet, that water was going to be pretty scarce. And that turned out to be true. We actually didn't see another significant source of water from our campsite until we were just below Peak 4, between Peak 4 and Peak 5. We had made some questionable route choices, I think is how I will describe that. And it made for some very difficult hiking. And I was getting pretty tired, and my confidence was waning mile after mile. Yeah. Once we hit the 5th peak, my confidence kind of came back. I got my second wind. I was like, okay, you know what? Maybe we're gonna do this. Let's get down off of 5. We'll move over to 6. Maybe even grab 7 today. We'll see how this goes. The push between peaks 5 and 6 was a lot longer than it looked on the map, and the air temperature during the day was significantly warmer than we had been prepared for. It was much warmer than the weather apps had predicted. So by the time we had hit this kind of false summit just before the 6th peak, it was fairly late in the afternoon. We were both pretty concerned with the water situation, and looking off at peak 6 in the distance, we decided we were just going to skip that one. As we moved through the wash, coming off of peak 6 and down into the valley that would take us closer and closer to peak 7, we decided we were kind of done. We were going to skip those last 3 peaks as well. So ultimately we hit 5 out of the 10, and we worked our way through the Willow Creek wash. And again, I got to admit, we made some poor route finding decisions, and I think made the hike harder than it needed to be. We could have stayed at a much lower elevation, followed game trails and things like that, and then made our way into the next wash and back to the car. We found a really nice campsite, and right next to a beautiful little creek. It was the first significant water we'd seen in hours. In the morning, we woke up to frost all over our shelters. It was a very cold night. We got a very slow start, struggled a bit to get moving in the morning, and just decided the best choice was just to call it and head from the campsite back to the car. The lesson that I'm taking away from this third and I think final attempt at this 10 peak loop is that not every route is for every backpacker. I love this area. I want to revisit this area, but I also want to expand and see other parts of Jarbidge. So I think for now, I can put this 10 peak loop to rest.